Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, welcome to another episode of the 94 P Podcast. This is your boy, Big Zeke. I'm in the building with Dre.
What's good, bros? How y'all doing?
I'm also in the building with the birthday boy, Big Kesey.
Birthday boy. Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday, man.
First off, shout out to all the people at 94 Feet listening. And appreciate the love from you two niggas.
All right.
I mean, well, this nigga and my brother over here.
Well, I'm going to start so hostile, man. We usually
No,
minutes into the show with
I try to start off nice, and this is the type of stuff I get. That's cool, though.
I mean, we usually 20 minutes into an episode before we get the explicit label.
But you see, no, we didn't get there today.
You just dropped the hit-bomb.
He started it.
Oh, I started it?
He started it.
I started it. When
like my son said, he started it.
When we do the playback, I want you to remember this exact moment. Like, damn, Kesey, why you go in on him like that? He was trying to be nice.
Well, happy birthday, bro. Hope you had a good birthday, man.
Appreciate it.
Man. I'm glad you did.
Well, it's good this year. Good to me this year. God has been good to me.
Good.
So, getting into the week of basketball, we usually do a game of the week, but I want to highlight two games. One is the Milwaukee Bucks versus Philadelphia 76ers.
The who?
Philadelphia 76ers.
I've never been to that city.
You know, it's a rough city.
Is it on the map? Go ahead.
Which map is it on, the flat or the round one?
Are you thinking like Kyrie? Let's stop before we get blamed for ruining his intro. Let's stop.
You already ruined it. It's too late. It's ruined.
Go ahead. We apologize.
But, you know, these teams have met like twice this week. Both times have been won by the Bucks. The first game they won 124-117. The second game they won 132-94. Now this is a possible Eastern Conference Finals, but most of the season, a star has been out each game. I think Joel Embiid has been out of the game. Ben Simmons has been out of the game. And I don't know about Giannis. Giannis may have not played in one of the games they played against each other. But this week, they kind of went back-to-back with the compressed season that we've been having so far. The reason I wanted to highlight this game was because Charles Barkley made a comment saying he believes the Milwaukee Bucks have what it takes to finish in the number one seed and also make it to the NBA Finals. Do you agree or disagree with these comments?
I mean, I'm going to agree with Chuck on this one. I think the Bucks are headed in the right direction. I mean, but we'll see how they finish. But if you ask me, I think they headed in that direction as well.
Man, headed in that direction, like in the future, or do you mean like this year? Though? We're talking about this year.
Like this year, like they're playing some good basketball right now. But we have to see if they can finish out the season playing good basketball in order to keep the momentum they got going on.
Charles Barkley spoke like a man who's never won a championship.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
That's how you're going to start out?
I mean, he's impressed by gameplay. None of us should be impressed by that most recent Bucks victory of 132-94 on yesterday because Joel Embiid didn't play, Ben Simmons didn't play. So two of the stars or superstars in the making for Philly didn't even play. So the Bucks put on a clinic yesterday, as they should have. But let's not get over our head.
But how much did they beat them by?
It was 132-94. It was a beatdown. It was almost a 40-point game win. It was a 38-point win. But if Joel Embiid played, he's going to put up 30 easily against the Bucks.
But
then you still got what?
Tobias
8
Harris,
points.
Steph Curry.
So listen to what I'm saying, people. The Milwaukee Bucks are playing some great basketball. I'm actually glad to see them playing better as the playoffs are upon us in 10 games, I believe. 10 games left in the season, maybe. Mm-hmm. But to say that they can make it out of the East, this is what I'll say to Chuck and anyone else, and I'm a Bucks fan. If the Brooklyn Nets get healthy and KD and Kyrie and Harden can play in the playoffs together, they are coming out of the Eastern Conference.
But that's the hard part. Like, Who knows if they're going to be healthy? Like,
Well,
what is the status of James Harden right now?
I think he's out indefinitely, but
he's out indefinitely. But I guess the thing about what I understand what you're saying, but I think that with Charles taking all that in, because we're taking everything into consideration here because the Nets seem injury prone. Philadelphia seems to need all their stars to make it happen. Even with all their stars, that's not a guarantee it's going to happen. So with all the injuries that we talked about the last couple of weeks, we've talked about injuries the last couple of weeks. The Bucks are one of the healthiest teams
now.
No, they're one of the healthiest teams been all year.
They have not. Giannis has missed a number of games.
Yeah, he has missed.
Holiday has missed a number of games.
Not enough, not significant amount. Though.
Most of Holiday games were COVID protocols,
but it's still missed games.
It's 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? It's 2 weeks. It's not like when you talk about these top 5 teams. Joel Embiid missed more than 30 days. Ben Simmons missed maybe like 3 weeks.
He missed a lot of games.
He missed a lot of like when I'm talking about like a significant amount of time. Like Giannis has been out like 5-6 games here, maybe like 5 games here. Middleton has played all year round. Drew Holiday has missed like 5-6 games here, and then he had to go to like 2-week protocol. But it hasn't been. They've been the healthiest out of these other teams though.
So the Bucks right now are in third place at 37-22. The 76ers are 39-21. The Nets are 40-20. So there is literally, y'all, 12 games left in the season. Now, we don't know the individualized breakdown of each team. I appreciate Chuck showing Milwaukee some love because Milwaukee doesn't get a lot of love from superstars. We don't get a lot of love from the press. We don't get a lot of love from, we don't get a lot of love from the TV stations. We don't get a lot of love from Charles Barkley and Shaq and everybody else, right? But what I'm saying about the Milwaukee Bucks, we are very happy and very proud of everything that the Bucks are doing. We again, America, y'all can't really see us, but what a hilarious behind the scenes we have here. One day the cameras might show it. But as I was saying, as I just tried to spend 2 minutes trying to figure out what my brothers were doing. So if it sounded like I was wasteful there, that's because I was trying to figure out what's going on. But
it's okay, you're getting it together.
I'm getting it together.
But I'm trying to get it.
Just put through.
The Bucks have a shot at making it to number 1, but that window's closing because there's only about 12 games left. All right? There's only about 12 games left. So, Charles, I appreciate it, but I don't know that with a healthy Brooklyn Nets, as I mentioned earlier, or if Joel and Simmons play, that the Bucks have an answer for Joel to get to the East Finals. But I would like to see it as a fan. I would like to see it.
My thing is I see the Bucks having a chance to beat somebody, but it's all going to be how healthy the other teams are is what concerns me most.
That's my thing too, and because the Bucks have been the healthiest out of these teams, that's why I think Chuck made that comment. Because when you talk about Brooklyn, they're pretty injury prone. Even when you talk about the Western Conference and how they're looking as far as injuries go, Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, these guys have been injured too. But it's just one of the things like I as a fan, as a Milwaukee native, I hope that's the case.
And I like some of the pickups that the Bucks have had recently. I think it has really benefited their roster, and they're able to go deeper in their roster with some of the players that they have picked up. Because some of the players are they fit, and some of them are trustworthy, like Jeff Teague and Tucker, just for example. Mm-hmm. They're both reliable, trustable players.
Yeah.
So I was just going to say, do you think? So do you agree with Chuck or not? I mean,
I don't agree. I think it's too early to make that assessment. You and I both know
that 12 games left. I mean, how much more time?
That's what I'm saying. But the playoffs,
he don't make it in the NBA Finals. I told you they was gonna make it.
Well, here's the thing. No, because right now the Bucks can be 3 in 12 games. They can be 5, or they can be 1, or they can be 2. So I don't necessarily agree with Chuck's analogy. I would like to see it.
What are the chances of the Bucks are losing the rest of their game? That's the only way they end up in that position.
Well, I mean, I think we have to look at who the Bucks have coming up. I mean, the Bucks play the Hawks. It should be a win. They play the Rockets. Easy win. They play the Nets. And by May 2nd, the Nets could be at full force. They play the Wizards, which should be a win. They play the Spurs, which could be a win. So really, if I'm looking at the Bucks' final, 12, 2, 4, 6, 7 games that I'm seeing here, the Bucks should win every game they play coming up, except potentially the Nets. They should easily beat the Rockets.
Why shouldn't they beat the Nets? They should beat the Nets just as well.
Well, and not if they're full force. No, I don't believe so.
James Harden is going to be out for the rest of the year, indefinitely.
But we've seen cases where indefinitely means the player's back in a week. LeBron was out indefinitely.
Yeah, he's been out a month.
Yeah, but that's still not indefinitely. Indefinitely,
with 12 games left, it's the end of the season.
So the Bucks should have an easy path to get that number one spot. But we know the Bucks will let go of easy ones, right? They actually play the Nets twice. They play the Nets twice. They play the Heat when we saw the Heat eliminated them last year. So we can't ever sleep on the Heat. So the Bucks' schedule really might show them about 7-3 with the rest of the season. If the Bucks can pick up a number of wins, they can get that number one spot. But I am not comfortable to say that the Bucks can go to the NBA Finals.
I am comfortable with saying that. I just don't have the faith in the Brooklyn Nets right now.
So are the Bucks your pick to go to the finals?
My Bucks are my pick to go to the finals out of the East this year.
Wow.
I am sticking to it.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here. What about you, Zeke? Are you picking the Bucks out of the East?
As an overall basketball commentator, I would have to say, I would have to say that.
Spit it out.
I'll say they'll have the number one seed. They'll have the number one seed, but I don't know if they'll have enough to make it to the Eastern Conference. To the NBA Finals.
Okay.
So the number one seed I can see.
But who do you see?
The NBA.
Well, all the teams that you can think of, who do you see can beat them?
The 76ers.
Why do you think the Sixers can beat them?
Because there's no answer for Joel Embiid.
That's what you think or what you know?
I mean,
I think
the MVP.
See, look, there's what do you say? I think. Is it what you think or what you know?
Well, none of basketball is ever what we know.
Nothing is set in concrete.
Nothing's.
I mean, I like Joe Embiid in play, but I just don't see them beating the Bucks in a 7-game series.
I see them.
You know what? You're gonna be honest with you. Let me stop there. Let me correct myself. Yes, I do see the Bucks making it to the NBA Finals. Only if they don't get in their own way. Yes, I see it because Keisha just made me think about something. Number one, they swept these guys during the season. Number two,
without their stars at many of those games.
That's
basketball. When you guys in the earlier episode, the same one I'm talking about when Philly beat them, and you was like, well, they didn't have so and so playing for the Bucks. Giannis wasn't playing, and they got lost by
they lost. They lost to.
It's neither here or there. Finish your point.
No, I'm just saying that when you break it down, when you break it down, when you break it down like when you say it like that.
Nice day outside today.
I'm just saying you breaking up old stuff because it doesn't matter.
It's valid. It's valid. Stuff, though. It's valid. It's valid.
You can't judge it off because they're not there because at the same time there are other players that did do more in that game that won't do nothing when beating them come back because their minutes will be cut short.
So are you saying that we shouldn't worry about the Lakers being number 5 right now?
No.
Okay. We're going to dive into that right now.
Okay.
So,
but answer your question. You said the Bucks. Do you have them coming out of the East or not?
Yeah.
Okay. I do not have the Bucks coming out the East.
Who do you got? Pick a team.
I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead.
If Brooklyn is fully healthy.
No, we don't need no ifs.
No, there has to be ifs.
There is no ifs.
There has to be ifs.
No. Who are you rolling with?
I am rolling with the Brooklyn Nets if healthy.
Man.
If not healthy, I'm rolling with the 76ers.
So you're not rolling with the Bucks either way it go.
I do not have them getting out of the Eastern Conference.
You want to put some money on that?
For what?
We can put some money on.
He didn't bet me earlier, but I will say this. Let's take this bet here. If our Bucks make it, we have to go to at least one finals game.
NBA finals.
NBA finals.
Oh yeah, that's guaranteed.
All right, that's a bet.
Who got the bill?
Well, we each got money.
Yeah,
we each got our own money.
You crazy? Them tickets is outrageous.
Probably about $600 or $700.
And it's Corona too. You know NBA taxing.
I got 4 kids.
I know you do. So that stimulus is looking real thick.
Thick. You know how much it costs to feed 4 kids in a week?
Moving forward.
That stimulus is gone. They ate that up last week.
Anybody with Quest for sale, hit up Kesey.
So the next game I want to talk about is the Dallas Mavericks versus Kesey's Los Angeles Lakers. Kesey Los Angeles Lakers lost both those games. I'm sorry, I apologize. They played twice this week, also Thursday and Saturday
against Dallas.
Mm-hmm. They lost both those games.
Mm-hmm.
First game was 115 and 110,
mm-hmm.
and the second game was 108 to 93.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis returned Thursday night. He played like 15 minutes. I think he put up like 4 points. The second game they played against Dallas, he maybe put up like 15 minutes, maybe like 10 points.
I think he had 22 minutes the second game, and I think the first game he played 17 minutes with like 4 and 4.
Yeah, something like that. So, he's slowly getting back into the rotation. He's slowly getting back in the swing of things.
He looked a little sluggish out there, man.
I mean, he's been out like 6 weeks.
I totally get that, but I'm just saying how he looked.
I agree with him. I agree. He looked real sluggish. He looked like he ain't playing no ball.
It looked
like he just been chilling.
It looked like he been chilling.
Yesterday he played 28 minutes and had 17 points. I mean, that's not terrible. Now, what I find,
how many rebounds did he have?
Only 3. But what I find interesting, though, since we're bringing up old stuff, Zeke is the one that mentioned how Drummond would have to take a back seat when AD comes.
I didn't say a back seat. I said he would have to. He's going to be in that Tristan Thompson role.
And Drummond only put up 6 points yesterday.
Yeah.
And 12 rebounds. So I'm not shocked, and I wouldn't be upset or concerned as a Laker fan. Because you have to remember, when you add a new player, especially in the middle of the season, if you add a new player, especially in the middle of the season, it takes time. It takes time for teams to get together, to gel together, and to figure out exactly who's going to do what. What are the roles that players are taking? What are we trying to do? And so the Lakers lost to Dallas, but again, like I said earlier, and I'm pretty sure Kesey watch him agree with me on this, America, the Lakers lost, but they didn't have LeBron. Do we think Dallas would really blow out the Lakers if LeBron was 100%, if AD was 100%?
No.
So we shouldn't be worrying about this.
I mean, you do want to worry at the same time because you don't want that type of energy to carry over into other games. You know what I mean? While we're waiting on him to come back. I mean, my biggest thing with the Lakers is they need to pick it up. Everybody need to pick it up across the board and hold it down until till we have LeBron James back.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I understand everything you just said. I understand where you're coming from, but the thing about that is, though, the Lakers need to be worried about LeBron coming back is something they're looking forward to. Matter of fact, he should be back next week. But do the Lakers have what it takes to stay out of that play-in playoff?
Absolutely.
Play out of tournament. Because right now they're in what? 6th spot.
So they're in the 5th, I think.
What is it? 7, 8 have to play in?
7 through 10. 7. So if you get that 7th seed,
they won't be 7.
Okay.
They might finish 6th.
It's tight in the West.
In the West, they might finish 6th at the worst, but I don't see them finishing out.
Did you hear they lost both of them games?
Without LeBron.
And is coming back sluggish. LeBron is older.
And it's basically, they didn't have AD either because they don't have the 100% AD playing right now.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is they're not going to have 100% LeBron.
So what I will say is I'm not going to ring the alarm just yet on the Los Angeles Lakers, but the optimism is fading simply because the Lakers are 35-25. and they're close to 10 games out of first place. So first and second's done. It's done.
Top three is done. Top three is done.
In fact, I expect the Utah Jazz, Phoenix Suns, and the Clippers to clinch within the next 2 days because they're so far away from those top three spots.
Utah missed their opportunity to clinch yesterday, so they got one more game. They clinched first. They number one seed.
They'll likely clinch. But the Lakers right now, I believe the Lakers can stay out of that 7th and 8th spot, but it all depends on LeBron's healthiness. Let's not get too cocky here. Okay, I'm a LeBron guy. We know Keith is a LeBron Laker guy. But if LeBron doesn't come back as LeBron, there's potential that the Lakers could, I'm not going to say fall out of the playoffs, but think about this. The 8th seed right now is 30-28. That's only a 5-game difference.
So I'm asking y'all
but I'm wondering how many games are there going to be between now and LeBron returning?
So they said next week. They didn't say what next week meant, but the Lakers, this is the Lakers' upcoming schedule.
So let's assume late next week because it's not going to be Monday. It's not going to be Tuesday.
Sure.
Let's assume late.
So the Lakers have coming up the Magic, which they should win, but the Wizards. Without LeBron, it could go either way.
The Wizards have been balling.
The Kings, which they should win. The Raptors, it could really go either way. The Nuggets, which the Lakers should lose without LeBron. The Clippers, which they're going to lose without LeBron.
When is the Lakers and the Clippers?
The Lakers and the Clippers is Thursday, May 6th. The Lakers and the Trailblazers. The Suns and the Lakers. The Knicks, who Isaiah is loving right now, balling out.
9 games in a row. They got the highest winning. They got the longest winning streak in the NBA this season.
The Lakers play the Rockets, the Pacers, and the Pelicans. So one could argue that the Lakers' schedule is not as easy as, say, the Bucks. So the Lakers I'm not going to say an uphill battle, but the Lakers need.
I'll say it. They have an uphill battle.
The Lakers need LeBron back, and they need him at 110%. To get in one of those top 3 or 4 spots.
I don't think they gotta have LeBron in order to make it.
One of the top 3 spots?
No, the top 3 spots is out of question.
So they're done.
They're trying to stay out of the play-in tournament.
If they're in the play-in tournament, you don't want to play the Lakers. If you're one of those teams in the play-in tournament, do you want to really play the Lakers with LeBron James coming back?
It's one game. Yes.
Especially if they're not 100%.
This is not a series. This is one game.
But we already know how playoff LeBron play.
We do.
Not an injured one. Hold up, bro. LeBron has, not to cut you off, LeBron has never been this injured going up in the playoffs. He has never been this injured.
I mean, I think it's more precautionary measures with his injury. I don't think it was really that bad of an injury. But you want to take precautionary measures because of his age and how long you want him to stick around.
Isn't it funny?
So as a LeBron fan, let me ask you this question. As a LeBron fan.
No different than how Brooklyn is doing KD. I mean, I get
he's
KD.
Playing today.
I mean, I get he probably was injured, but at the same time, they took precautionary measures to make him sit out longer.
And take his time with
it. Because they want the longevity of these players.
Let me ask you this question, D. As a Laker fan, because you're part of this Laker nation.
I'm a LeBron James fan.
That's sad. So as a LeBron James fan.
Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
Look, we can talk about bandwagoners in a whole nother episode.
Whoa, anyway, who you calling a bandwagoner?
I said bandwagoners. If you're feeling guilty.
Wow.
If you're feeling guilty.
But see, that's the reason I made the statement I made.
What?
I'm a LeBron James fan.
Exactly.
So not a Los Angeles Lakers fan.
So
I'm rocking with LeBron.
No. Because I rock with the Bucks. But I happen to like LeBron and Steph Curry. Everyone knows that. But have you ever seen me cheer for the Golden State Warriors ever? Never. I hated the Warriors. But like Steph Curry.
You can't be both.
You can be both. I hated the Warriors because they were a super team.
But that's just like people that are Kobe fans. They might not be Laker fans, but they love Kobe.
I expect that from women. Not some grown men.
Wow.
Who are basketball fans? That's another subject for another day.
Ladies, make sure you know who voice that was. This is not great.
That's Big Z.
So who is your favorite player?
I don't have a favorite player.
Who's your favorite team?
I'm a Bucks fan.
Are you really?
Yeah.
How come you didn't re-sign on season tickets with me?
Because I ain't no fool. We got to do it. These Bucks ain't paying my bills. These Bucks is hiking these prices up.
They are. But as you were.
But like I was.
What I was
going to say was, as a Lakers, as a LeBron James fan, do you hold him back because if you hold him back, you're gonna get in that play-in tournament, or do you be like, hey, LeBron, when you're ready to go, we go, because you want to be in that top 6 seed, because if you're not in that top 6 seed, because if you're outside of that play-in tournament, you get a couple extra days.
What is the play-in tournament? What teams? How many teams play in the play-in
tournament? It's 4 teams, 7 through 10 seed.
Okay,
and then they play one game. The winner of the 7th and the 8th going to get the 7th spot, and then
the winner of the 9 and 10 get the 8th spot.
Well, I'm going to say it like this.
Yeah.
If the Lakers get into the play-in tournament and there's no LeBron playing in that tournament, the Lakers might miss the playoffs. There, I said it.
But if you're saying if LeBron is coming back next week, before the play-in tournament comes, he'll be back.
But he won't be 110%, just like you seen AD struggle these last 2 games.
We got to have LeBron. What I'm saying is we got to have the LeBron of...
But when have you not known LeBron to be a factor? Even when he got injured that game, he still played. The only reason he came out is because he's like, you know what? I injured something. I don't know how bad it is.
Listen,
but I'm gonna get myself out of here.
Listen,
LeBron is Superman when it comes to that type of stuff.
The Warriors are scheduled to play in the play-in tournament, and if the Lakers have to meet the Warriors in the play-in tournament without LeBron, what do you think is going to happen?
Exactly. I mean, that transitions into our next topic because
let me guess, you think Steph Curry is going to have another 50-point game and he's going to hit 10 threes, and he's going to do this and he's going to do that.
Apparently, he's been on a tear. He's been on a heavy tear.
You just give him the MVP right now.
Is that what you think?
I mean, that's half what America thinks.
Half of America think what?
That Steph Curry's an MVP candidate.
Half of America smoke crack. The point I'm saying is this.
What half of America you know, brother?
Gee, you have very little thought of America.
No, I don't.
Half of America smoke crack?
Really?
Let's see. 94 Feet Nation, if you're willing to admit that,
you'd be surprised. Oh, you think people would be tagging us? Yeah, I smoke crack. So what?
They might want to know where you can get it from, making a statement like that.
Because they know you smoking something if you tell us talking like that.
They must be smoking something if they think Steph Curry should win MVP.
Bro, you know Snowfall is a fake TV show, half of America.
Based off real events.
In the 70s.
What I'm saying is that, like, moving into our next topic, Steph Curry was on a podcast. He was on a TV show, and they asked him, with this tear he's been on, the 50-point game, being 10-plus threes. Multiple threes per game. Should he be considered for MVP? And the way Steph answered this, I kind of think he was being sarcastic, but I also think he was just speaking his truth.
Okay, say how he said it, so America can hear how he said it.
So he was like, he kind of was like, yeah.
I am the MVP.
He was like, yeah, I think I should. Yeah, I'm the MVP.
He said, I think I should, but I won't.
No, he said, I won't think about it. Like, no, he said, I won't, he said, I won't really, think about it, or I won't,
Steph Curry said, and I quote, I got to be MVP. I got to be MVP. I probably won't get it, but whatever. That's exactly what he said. That's like what I said.
Thank you, co-host.
Well, see, that's the reason I don't like Steph Curry. But anyways.
Wait, LeBron said, I didn't finish third. Third.
I mean, when you're LeBron James, you should at least finish the 1 or 2 every year. I don't see anybody else in the league better than him.
Ask your question.
37.
Ask your question, because this is a Lakers field episode anyway. Ask your question, please.
My question is, do you think he should be MVP?
No.
Thank you.
No.
Okay. So we all in agreement.
And the only reason I say that is,
you know what?
That's not because LeBron James don't like that. Because I look at how Luka plays, right? Mm-hmm. He plays
You messed up on purpose, as you should have, because you putting Luka.
No, get it right.
He plays. He puts up MVP type numbers, but his team winning record doesn't show that. No different than Steph. He puts up MVP numbers
on a consistent basis,
but their team record doesn't show that.
Yeah.
So can you really consider them MVPs?
Steph Curry is one of those players that every season he can be considered for MVP because he doesn't have bad seasons. But the MVP clearly, The MVP is clearly Joker. It's clearly Joker. I hate.
Why do you say Joker? Because he's the only one who haven't been out this year.
Well, first of all, a center hasn't won it since what? Shaq.
Yeah.
A center hasn't won it since Shaq, and he's a center that's putting up close to a triple-double on a nightly basis. I didn't say he is, but he's close. To me, if Embiid had not gotten injured, and we talked about this many times before, Embiid was the runaway winner. But I think this is the year of the big man, and I think America will see that Joker will be named the most valuable player of the season.
Okay, let me ask you something. So looking at how things turned out for the Lakers without LeBron, right? Mm-hmm. Do that make you really think like maybe he is the MVP now? Ooh. Looking at how the Lakers look without him?
Without LeBron?
Yeah.
No, because every team looks like that. Cleveland was a lottery team. Miami had declined every year until they started getting better.
That goes to prove my point. Ain't that what an MVP does?
Going to your point, their record is horrible.
Who?
Lakers.
But why is that though?
Because LeBron and AD aren't playing.
But that just means that they're a superstar. That don't mean you're the most valuable player this year.
Well, I mean, I'm with
that. Don't mean you're a superstar because your team doesn't win when you're not there.
That's exactly what that means.
No, that says you're the MVP
of that team.
And then let's not.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like when you talk about MVP, like I think that, like you just mentioned, Joker might win MVP or he should win MVP. He's the front runner so far.
In real talk,
when you talk about MVP and you talk about when you compare the two, he hasn't been injured. Like that's the only difference between him and Joel.
What's their record looking like right now?
So who?
Denver.
Denver's number one, and they could have clinched this past week. They'll probably clinch number one next week. I'm sorry, number two. Utah's number one. Denver's number two. What I'm saying is, when we talk about the MVP awards, I mean, there's a lot, and I'm a Steph guy, but there's a lot of players who would get mentioned over Steph for this award, like and who? LeBron, James Harden. Giannis. Okay?
Giannis started out real sluggish.
He started real sluggish, but now he's in the top three. The Nuggets actually have dropped to 4. I'm sorry. The Nuggets have dropped to 4. The Jazz are 1 with 44-16. The Suns are 42-18 at 2. The Clippers are 43-19 at 3. The Nuggets are 39-21 at 4. So they're slightly ahead of the Lakers in the standings right now. But Joker has held that spot down all season. Let's not forget what happened to the Nuggets. They lost Trae Young to an injury. Is he back yet?
Who?
Not Trae Young.
What's your boy name? Jamal Murray.
Thank you. Jamal Murray. They lost. He went down an injury.
Yeah, he's out.
He's out for the season, right?
He tore his ACL.
Yeah. So obviously now the question might say, okay, we thought this was Joker, but we can't take away how Murray was balling now.
We're talking. We've spoken MVP a lot this year because this is one of those main topics that constantly changes, and discussions are brought up and different things like that. But when you talk about, the MVP or whatever, no person can really do it by themselves.
A team, you mean? No team can do it by themselves.
No, I mean one person can't hold the whole team down by itself. Mm-hmm. And like we started this conversation off with Steph Curry, and we all agree he's not MVP. But one of the reasons we all agree he's not MVP is because the record of the Golden State Warriors.
That's not why I agree. I actually think that the fact that they take into consideration team records is kind of disrespectful to the most valuable player. That's not why I agree. I agree because players are playing better than Steph. Steph's putting up big numbers, but James Harden was like, and I'm not even a Harden fan. He was balling. Giannis balling. Joker balling. So Steph balls. That's what he does.
My question is to y'all is why aren't players like Chris Paul considered the top candidate for the MVP?
Yeah.
Because look where Phoenix came from.
Because
and right now Phoenix is number 2 in the West, not the East, the West.
Because
and remember, I doubted that. Do y'all remember?
What did I tell you at the beginning of the season?
You said Chris Paul can make teams better, and I stand corrected.
I said that.
Well, you both said it, but I was against it.
No, I was the one who was on it.
He was against it.
He was against it. That's
the only part that matters.
So 94 feet, Big Zeke and Kesey have finally agreed on something, and they're trying to take it out on me.
You know what? Mark it.
Write it down. You know what? I'll sign this book today.
Book it.
But it was one of them things where, you know, we like you. I think that even though MVP is an individual award, you still have to consider the team's record, because when you say most valuable player in the entire NBA, you have a combination of I think you have a combination of stats, you have a combination of style, which is featured in your highlights. You have so many different type of factors and stuff like that. One of the things that, like, Steph Curry, I think Steph Curry is probably one of the greatest shooters of all time, and that will never change.
Never.
But because he's only getting better. But when you talk about MVP, he just hasn't done enough to make his team better. And I think that if they were in a better position,
I disagree.
I think if he were in a better position, he would be a clear winner, though.
Here's why I disagree, because last year without Steph, Golden State won 15 games?
Yeah.
This year they won 30, so they've already doubled. I don't know how many they won, but it was low. It had like one of the top 3 picks.
Okay, so
so that's what I'm saying. So that's why I disagree with that.
Okay, so let me ask you this question then.
Sure.
Because we all agree Steph should not win MVP.
He should not win it, but he should be in the
So
talks.
what is your reason behind that?
Because other players have been more impactful to their team and they're having better seasons. This is not okay. Steph is killing, but Steph always kills. Mm-hmm. Joker last year, the only reason people knew Joker was because he was an all-star. Mm-hmm. Joker is doing it in a small market with Jamal Murray. He's doing it in a small market. Mm-hmm. Giannis is doing it in a small market, and he's won it back-to-back. And it could be argued this year that he should also probably get Defensive Player of the Year again. He probably won't. Yeah. Drew Holiday should be considered, but he probably won't. Another story for another day. Evan Turner's balling, but he probably won't get it either. So what I'm saying is Steph always puts up these kind of numbers like LeBron. So every year people like Steph, Harden, and LeBron should be given consideration. But does that mean they should win it every year? No. Let's diversify the MVP award.
Let's diversify. Then why isn't Chris Paul in the talks then?
Because I don't think Chris Paul has numbers that define the most valuable player. Other than assists, and he did pass someone this year. He averaging like
17, 9, and 6 or something.
Yeah, but they're not Joker's numbers. They're not even Embiid numbers, and they're certainly not Giannis numbers.
Those are all.
I thought MVP candidate was about value, not about stats.
Most valuable player, not most valuable team.
So,
but I'm saying he is the most valuable player because look at Phoenix. Look what he did to that team. Look at Phoenix record last year. What was Phoenix record last year?
We'll pull it up.
They were in the bubble, but
they were in the bubble, and they got eliminated. So it wasn't good.
So it was decent. The thing about Chris Paul, even guys like Chris Paul, because Donovan Mitchell's not in this discussion either. Guys like him,
and he's in the talks too.
In what?
He's in the top 10 of the running for MVP.
Oh, top 10 don't matter. Either you top 3, you nothing. So Chris Paul is not in there because Chris Paul is not doing some stuff. He's not doing anything remarkable enough, outstanding enough to win MVP. When Westbrook won that MVP award, he was averaging a triple-double, which hasn't been done since Oscar Robertson.
Last year, Phoenix wasn't even a 500 team.
We know that. They got
I get what you're saying.
They were in the bubble, and they were terrible.
And now they're number 2 in the West, and Chris Paul doesn't get consideration for MVP.
Let me take this.
Go ahead.
No. You take this. You take this. Take this one. Take this one. I want you to take this one.
Here's why I'm going to take this one. This whole season is more fluky than the bubble season. There, I said it. It's more fluky than the bubble season.
What do you mean?
LeBron's been injured. AD's been injured. KD's been injured. Trae Young is injured. Superstars are injured. Embiid is injured. Ben Simmons is injured. Giannis missed time. So Phoenix is playing in a year where the schedule is working for them. If this was a regular non-COVID season, Phoenix would still be at the bottom. And there's nothing you can say to convince me. Because it's not like they're beating teams without their stars. Okay, they're beating teams without their stars. Put a full force Lakers up against Phoenix. They wouldn't dare beat them. Put a full force Brooklyn up against Phoenix. They wouldn't dare beat them. Put a full force Milwaukee Bucks against Phoenix. They wouldn't dare beat them.
They did.
It happens. One game. Okay, fine. It's one or two games.
Not
whatever.
to mention they beat the Lakers the first game, like the beginning of the season, with the full Lakers squad.
The sun shines on sometimes.
What is the sun shines on the dog ass sometimes?
I didn't say that.
That's
said
what
that.
You want to say.
You don't know what I want to say. Nevertheless.
Well, that's what you was referring to.
That's what the phrase says. Continue.
All I'm saying is Phoenix are playing ball, but let's see what they do in this playoffs.
I mean, that's why I feel like
they even beat your Warriors at the beginning.
The Warriors are not my Warriors. Okay, Steph Curry.
Steph Curry. It's Steph Curry. So I mean, going back to your point, I think that you talk about what's the name, like Phoenix or stuff like that. You brought up Phoenix and why Chris Paul ain't on there. Chris Paul ain't did enough. Like Chris Paul is doing what Chris Paul do, average 17 points, maybe 10 to 9 assists a game, 5 boards and stuff like that. That's cool. I get it. He's made Phoenix better. I get it. But that doesn't. We're talking about extraordinary play. Somebody averaging a triple-double every year is extraordinary. And then on top of that, Joker and the G's have done this on a consecutive basis.
And not to mention, they did beat the Utah Jazz with a fully loaded squad.
Yeah, but no one's taking Utah serious but you.
Wow.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Actually, I did.
A couple weeks ago in this episode, you did.
I did not. That was not me. That was him.
I'm sorry. Well, no one's taking them serious but Zeke, so no one should be surprised by that.
I know it's a fluke.
Utah's is one and done.
Phoenix might be a fluke. Let's just cut the crap here. Phoenix might be a fluke.
If you're putting
they give MVP at the end of the year for a reason.
If Chris Paul goes on with his normal trend where he gets hurt every playoffs, then yes, Phoenix Suns are done. They are cooked. They are barbecue chicken.
But
Chris Paul, we don't wish no bad on you, bro. But you are fragile. You are fragile
in the playoffs.
very fragile in the playoffs. I mean, but it is what it is. I mean, we started this conversation of talking about Steph Curry into the MVP talk. I mean, we can all agree that that's not going to happen. But it's just, it's been talked about this week. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that's been brought up this week that had people kind of up in an uproar, Gary Payton spoke of LeBron James. Well, he put his opinion on the LeBron James versus Michael Jordan debate. And every time this thing is brought up, it always brings out the fans of all fans.
Zeke, before you finish your intro, and I know you always accuse me of interrupting.
Because you do. Go ahead.
But are you ready to referee this match? That's all I want to know. Are you ready to referee this match?
Listen.
To be really honest with you. Really honest with you.
Are you ready to referee this match?
You know what? I'm going to be really honest with you. I did not want to talk about this. I was trying to avoid this because when you have Michael Jordan fans, when you have LeBron James fans, and these two come together, it is a battle of titans. And it gets so ridiculous. And I'm just sitting here in the middle because I'm a basketball fan. I don't care who's the greatest. Do I have my opinions on it? Of course I do. But I won't go to damn near blows about Michael Jordan or LeBron James.
Are you saying that me and Kesey will damn near
I'm not saying
to defend our favorite player?
I'm not saying y'all gonna go to blows, but I'm saying that we might have to question our friendship after this discussion. But I'm gonna try to keep this as civil as possible. But like I was saying before, Gary Payton was talking on a podcast or some type of program. I think he was talking to an interviewer, but he was talking about how LeBron James is by far a better all-around basketball player than Jordan was. He said, and I quote, LeBron James is a better all-around basketball player than Michael Jordan. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. LeBron James, by far, because he does everything. He passes the ball better than Jordan. He can dribble a little bit better than Jordan. Shooting wise, I don't think so, but rebounding, he does it better than Jordan. Now, I'm going to start this conversation off with that I do agree with this statement because it's very specific. Jordan, when you talk about LeBron James, the one thing that separates him from the pack is that he's 6'8", like 250 pounds, but he can run. But he can run the ball. But he can run all 5 positions. He can pretty much play all 5 positions. And you can put LeBron James anywhere. He can pass the ball. He can shoot the ball. He can pretty much do everything. And it's mostly because of his athleticism. But when it comes down to it, I'd rather have Jordan on my team than I would have LeBron. I'm going to start off with Dre and the Jordan.
Listen, as a basketball fan, as a LeBron fan, I am so sick of this topic. Okay, I'm sick of it. First of all, anyone born after Jordan retired in 1998 shouldn't even be talking about Jordan because they haven't seen him play. They haven't realized what greatness was. No. So listeners out there, if you were born after 1998 when the real Michael Jordan retired, okay, we're not talking about that watered-down Wizards version. Okay, we're talking about the real MJ, the 6-0 MJ, the 5-time NBA MVP MJ, the never lost in the finals MJ. Gary Payton's comments were not only disrespectful, they were a sign that Gary Payton still holds a lot of hate in his heart that Michael kept him down until he went to Miami and got a championship. Okay, let's start there. Second of all, LeBron James.
All right, somebody check his temperature.
LeBron's
getting heated up. Somebody get the thermometer out.
Y'all better get the beeper out for Casey because he's going to go nuts. So when you talk about LeBron being a better all-around player than Mike, I don't feel like that's a fair assessment of Mike, of LeBron. In my opinion, as great as LeBron is, and LeBron to me is the second greatest of all time, right behind Michael, easy. LeBron James and MJ comparison need to stop. It should have been LeBron and Magic because LeBron compares more to Magic than anything. LeBron is a power forward who can run point. But let's not act like Michael couldn't run point. Michael, in fact, the ball was in his hands most of the time. B.J. Armstrong, you know what his role was? Get in the corner and shoot the three in the corner. Ron Harper, you know what his role was? Be a defensive lockdown player. Michael Jordan ran point. Okay, shooting guard. The only thing that he hasn't done as a shooting guard was won a three-point contest because he never entered one. Okay, let's start there. Jordan entered dunk contest. LeBron won't even do that, but he'll put on shows in front of everyone before the game starts. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about small forward. Jordan posterized Dikembe Mutombo, who's a center. He owned Patrick Ewing, who was a center, right? So many things that people say that LeBron could do, that Jordan couldn't do, is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. They need to stop. LeBron is great. I would even say this, that if LeBron's final record wasn't what it was, people would probably already call him better than Michael. But he's not because championships matter. LeBron is a baller. He is the second best player ever. But I'm not done. No, you'll get your time.
I'm gonna cut him off for a second. I'm gonna cut you off 1 second.
Oh my God.
The one thing
he was going HAM.
I know I gotta cool this mother jabber off. This mother is on fire.
He was going HAM.
He's about to set the house on fire. Listen.
Go ahead.
When you talk about rings, there are people who have more rings than Jordan. Why aren't they considered?
Because they're not. Robert Horry has 7. He is not better than Michael. Bill Russell has 11, or is it 13 or something like that?
That's what I'm saying.
But he's not better. It's different eras of basketball.
The way, hold on a second.
But see, the thing is, you can't judge those eras because we didn't watch those eras. We didn't watch Dr. J era.
Hold on, let me just.
So you can't.
Just so y'all know, I'm not done.
I know you're not done. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Keith. Hold on a second, Keith. Hold on a second, Dre. I was going to put a couple things out here real quick.
You clearly know this is going to be my favorite episode, right?
Yeah.
How many championships does Wilt have?
Hold on a second, though.
It doesn't matter. We're talking about Jordan and LeBron.
Hold on a second. Before you even go there, Keith. The thing about championships do matter. And I will say that Michael Jordan was one of those guys who he elevated the game of basketball.
10-time All-NBA first team.
Can I finish?
Let him finish. Let him get his out.
No,
let him finish. Let him get it out. Because he ain't going to relax until he get it out.
Well, he's just playing moderator because I don't even know that he has an opinion of it.
I'm just saying my opinion
on it.
My thing about this is, Jordan, when you talk about like guys who have more championships or who aren't recognized, it's because Jordan did more for his championships than their championship. When you talk about Bill Russell and his championships, you were talking about time where there was one black guy playing. He should have won 13 championships. I'm surprised he didn't win 13 in a row. When you talk about other like Robert Horry was just a part of it. He wasn't the guy. So I think that's where you talk about it's the comparison for Michael Jordan and LeBron is always who is, because they're that guy. They're that guy. They may be from two generations, but they're very close and similar. LeBron James wore number 23. It was for a reason. It was for a reason.
Clearly, because they were crowning him the second coming.
Now that you've taken your second win,
okay,
please continue.
So, and I'm almost done because I want to hear what Kesey has to say. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm a LeBron guy. In fact, my brothers will tell you I think that it's completely asinine that we use championships to judge LeBron's greatness. But in the story of greatness, it will come up. LeBron has yet to win Defensive Player of the Year. Jordan, as a guard, has won that award. Okay,
I think I'm gonna stop you right there because now you're going too damn far. I think he has been snubbed on the Defensive Player of the Year on quite a few years.
Okay, so you're telling me that Dwight Howard shouldn't have won him when he beat out LeBron? You're telling me that Giannis shouldn't have won when he
who has had more chase down blocks than LeBron?
Okay, chase down blocks. Is that what we're?
How many times has LeBron guarded the best defender and still played his game and did the best?
The bottom line:
every team he played for, he always guarded the best player.
That's true.
Every single season, and he never considered a Defensive Player of the Year. Don't you go there.
The bottom line is when the records show and when he retires.
Of course, Jordan is going to have way more of those because he played against.
He only had one.
He played against a bunch of Caucasian people back in the day.
Wait, so you're telling me Jordan won Defensive Player of the Year in '88 when the bad boys used to destroy that man every time he came into the zone was a bunch of Caucasian players, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, all y'all got me started. Why y'all get me started? You know what, fans? I'm going to stop there. No, he's not a better all-around player. He's a more athletic player. But he's not a better all-around player. Michael Jordan, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
So let me ask you this.
I'm done.
Oh, so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question because y'all can go on back and forth, Ian, such and such and such. Let's just break this down really quickly. Break this down really, very quickly.
Are you going to go through LeBron stats now?
No, I'm not going to go to LeBron stats. I'm just going to ask y'all some simple questions. These are.
I would like to hear Casey's rebuttal.
This is LeBron or Jordan?
Okay.
Yes, this is simple.
Okay, but you can get to that. But let me get to LeBron first.
Let him give his rebuttal, and then I think that's a great way to segue us out.
Okay. Gary Payton, shout out to you, my man. You couldn't have said it better.
How many posters did Jordan put you on? Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. You were quiet.
You talking about the glove.
You were quiet.
There you go.
I'm sorry.
LeBron James.
Are you saying he's a better all-around player than Jordan?
LeBron James is a better all-around player than Michael Jordan. As far as a better scorer, I'm going to say Michael Jordan is a better scorer than him. But when you look at all-around things that LeBron does in a game, he does every aspect on the court to make his team win.
I don't disagree with that.
So that's what they're talking about when they say all-around player. They're not just talking about rings and championships, because, LeBron does have 4. He is a 4-time MVP, 4-time finals MVP. I can throw all them stats out there like you did with Jordan. You know what I mean?
Shortened season.
Let him finish.
Double.
13-time All-NBA.
Okay. Jordan was 10-time.
Led the league in assists 2 years. How many times has Jordan led the league in assists? Huh?
Let me pull up the stats.
Never.
Are you asking me a question?
He's never led the league in assists.
Okay, that's okay.
Because guess what? He liked to do.
He liked to pass.
He liked to shoot.
He liked to shoot. LeBron James likes to make everybody around him better.
And I'll give you.
And one thing people got to give credit to LeBron is there's some players that got their careers because of him.
And there wasn't because of Jordan. You know how many people he stopped from getting championships?
Who has Jordan helped get a career?
Scottie Pippen.
No, Scottie Pippen was going to be good either way it goes.
You're crazy.
You're crazy. Scottie Pippen was going to be good either way it goes.
Tony Kukoc, Steve Kerr, John Paxson. Steve Kerr left the Bulls to win more championships. Okay? So
Steve Kerr is on that Robert Horry.
That don't count. I'm talking about like players like Dellavedova.
Yeah.
Should Dellavedova have got a $40 million contract?
Well, it was from the Bucks.
And they got it from our hometown.
That's why you can get that.
No,
we couldn't. I was trying to get
LeBron James gave him that.
Just like Eric Bledsoe, we clashed out on because of LeBron and his influence. But
players like Drew Gooden. What Drew Gooden had a career as long as he did without LeBron over there in Cleveland.
So, but let's think about.
So my question. So
Dwayne, I'm gonna even go on my man Dwayne Wade because I love Dwayne Wade, but he extended Dwayne's Wade career because of his play.
How long? So my question is he? Why is he a better all-around player?
He's not.
He is because he makes every person around him better. Every single person on his team, he makes better.
What I will give LeBron, and again, folks, if this was a LeBron versus KD argument, I would be on the side of LeBron. But because this is MJ, I have to take ownership of this.
Jordan is more of a, you're going to do what you got to do, or I'm going to get you up out of here real quick.
So here's what
I ain't playing no game.
Here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'll give LeBron credit for. LeBron, who created the era of super teams, of this version of basketball.
Oh, man.
Let's just own it. Let's just own it. I said for this era of basketball.
No, because super teams been out.
But LeBron has created it for this era of basketball.
No, he did not.
Anyway.
So then what is the Paul Pierce and Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett? That was
a super team too, but that was a different era.
But that was before LeBron, so that means they started it.
It was a different era. I said for this era, LeBron
he didn't start. He didn't start it for his era. That was something that started before his era, so he could not start something in his era if it was already done before his era.
He finished. So what I'm saying is, I'm giving him props. I'm giving you props. Listen to me.
No, what I'm saying is, I don't like when people say that. I
don't care what you like.
I clearly you don't.
See, this is why. Hey, 94 feet. This is why I didn't want to talk about this.
No, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to give you props. No, because think about it.
I don't like people saying that though.
Oh, whatever.
Just stop saying it.
So there was a meme that came out yesterday, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. We reposted it on 94 Feet, and it had all these superstars joining together to try to beat LeBron. So I will say this, that the NBA is more cruel to LeBron than they are Michael Jordan. They are. But Michael Jordan and LeBron, in my opinion, like I said, they're both generational players that we shouldn't compare. I enjoy that Kesey and I were able to have that debate, but we should be able to stop asking questions like Gary Payton is asking, because we need to appreciate the greatness of both players. Two very different eras of basketball. Some of my younger brothers, my mentees, they swear LeBron is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I said, have you ever seen Jordan play? They're like, nah, but we don't need to because we know LeBron is this, and Kobe was that. So I get it. So Gary Payton and his divisive views and everything just needs to stop and know that you're not better than either of them. How about that?
How about that indeed? But what I'm saying...
Whoa.
There ain't no whoa. That is what it is.
I know. I get it. That was a whoa, though.
That was a whoa. Gary Payton don't see him.
That's a mic drop.
But now he wouldn't say that in Gary Payton's face, now would he?
Well, none of us would, but that's why we're podcasters.
Because Gary Payton from the hood.
He can be from the hood. That's all right.
Now, I bet you won't say it to his face.
Hey, if he comes on my episode, I'll say it. Listen, I can't wait to be Skip Bayless of the podcast world. Dre and Skip Bayless, he is confrontational.
Okay, so let me just ask this couple questions.
What's up, Glove? Shout out to you, though.
So let me ask y'all the questions real quick. This is LeBron or Mike? Passing.
LeBron, he will never take the shot with the pressure on the line.
No, I'm saying
that is not true. But
better,
anyway.
Who's better? LeBron passing. LeBron or Mike? That's the only answer I need.
LeBron James.
Michael Jordan.
Better passer.
Michael Jordan. Okay. Next question.
Shooting.
Michael Jordan.
Now, what are you saying as far as 3
I said shooting.
Are you talking about?
We're talking about shooting. 3-point, 2-point combined.
LeBron.
Rebounding.
LeBron.
So we got shooting, rebounding, assists. And you said LeBron out of the 2 out of the 3.
No, I didn't.
For passing, you said...
I said Michael Jordan.
And for scoring...
Clearly Michael Jordan.
Rebounding...
LeBron. He's a forward. He's a power forward.
I went LeBron across the board.
You went LeBron across the board. Of course you did.
Did I grow up with you?
Yeah, you did.
Are you the same guy that I grew up with enjoying Michael Jordan and the Bulls?
Listen.
He's seen The Last Dance. We all seen The Last Dance.
Let me explain something to you.
I know I got the flints because of that.
At the same time, I totally agree. Jordan is number 1, 2. But that's to each his own opinion of what they consider 1, 2, right?
Agree.
So my opinion is what LeBron brings to the game makes him number 1.
So is LeBron the GOAT?
LeBron is a GOAT to me.
Okay.
People can say what they want to say, but that's my opinion.
Zeke, who's
That's
your GOAT?
what I felt LeBron brought to the game.
Zeke, who's your GOAT?
Oh, Michael Jordan.
Okay.
No question about it.
Where's LeBron on your list? Just
As
curious.
far as what?
Top of all time. Is he like in your top 5, your top 10,
He's
your
number
top
2.
3? He's number 2. Okay. Where's Jordan on yours, Kesey?
Number 2.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't see anybody
I mean,
else. I don't even, because number 3 would be so hard to pick. I don't see anybody outside of 1 and 2. And it's a roll of a dice with LeBron and Jordan. Like, it's like, it depends on what you were looking for that night. That's who is 1.
Okay.
Or this is who is number 2.
I'm glad you said it. And I think the most important thing out of everything that Gary Payton said was he felt LeBron is a better all-around player than Michael Jordan. So when you talk about all-around player and you talk about the person who can do the most with the basketball, I would say LeBron is that guy. That doesn't change the fact that I believe that that Michael Jordan is a better player than LeBron James. I'm just saying when you talk about all around and you have these different specific narratives or these different specific, the wording is different. And so when you talk about the wording, I do believe LeBron James is a better all-around player than Michael Jordan, but I'll take Michael Jordan as the GOAT every single time.
That's good.
I know you would.
That's good.
And that you may
that's what typically happens when you don't like LeBron.
That ain't nothing to do with it.
So
I
think majority of the people who vote Jordan is number 1 don't really like LeBron like that.
I disagree. I think it depends on the circles that you're talking in. I'm talking from a circle of a guy who's been watching basketball since the late 80s, who started understanding basketball in the 90s.
But you're talking about a guy who just played in that era, still considered. It's some other players that played in that era still consider LeBron James a better player.
And
the only reason y'all keep knocking LeBron is because
who's knocking him? I didn't knock LeBron.
Guys knock LeBron.
Not knocking him like knocking him, saying like knocking him out of first and putting him in second is because his finals record. So, but listen, nobody ever goes back and look at Jordan's playoff record when he wouldn't get out the East because of the bad boys for 4 or 5 straight years.
Hey,
it was 3.
Very few people bring that.
Hold on a second.
Very few people bring that up.
Hold on a second. There's a very important comment that was said in the Last Dance. Once Jordan got it, you couldn't stop him.
You couldn't stop him.
Once he got past Detroit, and every single time he went, I'm going to win this game.
And I'm going to give you...
I'm going to win this series. You're not going to stop me.
My thing is, look at it like this.
What?
Jordan put on some great series in those finals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every series that LeBron has lost, did he not put on a great performance?
Not good enough.
But who? It was always somebody.
I disagree because they were going to give him MVP the year they lost.
Every year,
everybody's talking about that because his stats. But if you lose, who cares?
But it's always somebody on his team.
Because 72-10 is the best record in the league because they won a championship. 73-9 ain't no mind.
Losers.
But because he always has somebody on his team that ruins his finals.
What did you just say?
How many players have you known to ruin LeBron James finals that kept that team that blew their chance of maybe having a finals?
J.R. Smith is one of them. Kevin Love and Kyrie getting injured. That's 2. They should have beat Dirk and them, but he can blame himself for that. But maybe Chris Bosh, 2.5 men. But they should have easily beat Dallas. But what you both are saying is that's why I said, and here's what's the most disrespectful is that people aren't talking about Kobe versus LeBron. That's what Gary Payton should be talking about because people put Kobe above LeBron in so many circles. God rest his soul.
Kobe.
But Kobe
I have a very unique thing about Kobe. Kobe was one of those. Kobe had the benefit of being in the middle. There's a song by J. Cole called The Middle Child. It's called The Middle Child because I'm part of both generations. I'm right there where hold on a second.
He got to witness he got to witness the late
the end of Jordan in the beginning of LeBron.
He got to witness winning Jordan and Wizards Jordan.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So it's the end of Jordan career and the beginning of LeBron. So he has a very unique
I'll tell you this,
career.
and I'm a Kobe fan too, God rest his soul. But I'm more offended when people try to compare him to Jordan than I am LeBron.
Because it was clearly he imitated his game around.
Well, he kind
imitated
of
his game.
He imitated it, but the skill of gameplay was not the same. Not in my opinion. So
I mean, speaking of Kobe, speaking of the Lakers, before we get out of here, we're going to talk about one of the things that's been sweeping social media, that's went viral. Jenny Buss was on the All the Smoke podcast. Shout out to them. And she said,
I couldn't believe she was on there.
Me either.
I'm not surprised.
Well, I mean, she rocked
there
with a lot of the people.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you know, they get in
there. Did she have her? You know?
Did she have her little doobie before she went in there?
She probably had an edible before she went in there. But
something, right?
She had an edible before there. But the one comment that went viral that she said was her most important Lakers list. It was Kobe Bryant, it was Phil Jackson, it was LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Magic Johnson. When I seen this list, I didn't really think nothing of it until I looked at the list and was like, really, LeBron James? And for her to put LeBron James in there, I felt like it was real disrespectful to somebody like Shaq, who literally brought her back-to-back championships.
Kobe didn't have nothing to do with that?
I think more of those
Kobe had something to do with that, but he wasn't the one.
Kobe was more of the reason they won those championships because even as you can tell, when Paul Gasol came, he still did what he did with Shaq there with Paul Gasol.
Why did Shaq leave?
So
why did Shaq leave?
Kobe wanted him gone.
Thank you. Why did Kobe want him gone?
Because he called him lazy, didn't he?
No, that's not why.
They had a one-on-one.
Because they were talking about this is Shaq's team. That's what they were talking about.
No, Shaq was saying it was his team, and then Kobe proved the point and said, "This is my team. Goodbye."
Exactly. So if you
and that really shows you who team it was in LA. It was the Mamba show.
Listen,
and then the Mamba came on and got 2 more rings right behind that. So I don't want to hear it no more.
He wasn't even Mamba back then. He wasn't even Mamba back then.
So you have a problem with her list?
The only person I have a problem with is LeBron James.
Why?
Because I just told you why.
Who would you replace him with?
A Shaq.
Okay.
Shaq has a statue outside the stadium. She is kissing LeBron James' ass because that's who is winning her right now.
Before LeBron James, the Lakers were a lottery team 2 years in a row.
And no. Let me finish. One of those reasons because LeBron got hurt and sat out.
Which is more of a reason why he's the most important. Let me finish. You had what you had to say. Now let me finish. The last Lakers championship was 2010. Kobe played several years after that until he retired and sadly passed away. Lakers were not able to do anything in 10 years. LeBron plays there in 3 seasons and delivers a championship, albeit it's the bubble, but it's still a championship. So to not include LeBron is not only, first of all, let me give Jenny Buss a shout out for her political savviness, because that was politically smart to do. That was politically smart.
I agree. I agree.
However, how can LeBron be considered your number 2 GOAT and he's not a most important Laker? That doesn't make any sense.
Because LeBron James is jumping from team to team to team
and has won a championship, and a championship.
I get that, but when you talk about the most important Lakers, you're talking about guys who has built this franchise,
like Vlade Divac.
Or Nick Van Exel.
I'm talking about guys.
Nick Van Exel with the Lakers take on.
So, okay, let me ask you this question then, because like when you talk about like, hey, these are the most important.
Let him tell it. Derek Fisher was.
Derek Fisher.
When you talk about the
before or after,
these are the most important people. These are the most. These are the most important people to the Lakers franchise. When you talk about that type of stuff, you're talking about, hey, these guys are all-time Lakers. Yeah. You're not talking about And Shaq, LeBron got all the media hype because he went there and everybody gonna kiss his ass because they won a championship. But at the end of the day, you just got here.
And he's been more impactful.
Because he's probably the greatest player in the league right now. So yes, LeBron James will bring you a championship. That's what he does. But my thing is you can't put him in your all-time list because he hasn't put the work in. He hasn't put the work in. We talk about the bubble. We talk about the championship. It's in a bubble.
How did he do
It's in a bubble.
It's still a championship.
Within 2 years of arrival, they have a championship, even though it was a bubble.
Okay, so you're right, because he has when you got the best. Then on top of that,
America,
he sat out.
Hear the hate in his heart. I'm just saying, hear the hate in his heart.
No, hear the facts out of my mouth. Because when KD was out for the year, LeBron got this in the bag. Because who was going to stop him? Who's going to stop him?
I know you're not going to talk about no KD.
When LeBron James,
I know you're not going to bring up no KD.
We're going to find out.
Because KD joined a 72, what was it?
73-9.
73-9 team to beat LeBron because he knew.
He was a part of the 73-9, but he still joined a 60+ win team. You're right.
He joined a championship caliber team to beat LeBron.
No, a championship winning team.
Without Michael Jordan.
I'm agreeing with you.
We're talking about active players right now. When you talk about active players, LeBron is the man. He's number one without a doubt. So yes, when he comes to your city, you're going to get a championship. Everyone knows that.
So then what makes that not valuable to the Lakers like the other players that came in and brought them because they know LeBron is going to bring in more championships.
This time it's Zeke versus Kesey, and I'm the moderator. Notice I haven't said a word.
What I'm saying is this: like every time, I just feel like every time a dude touchdown in your city, it's more to his legacy, not the team.
So
it's more to his legacy than not the team, because Tom Brady will not be on the greatest Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You're crazy. Yes, he will. He'll be the face of that franchise. They weren't, bruh.
When he retires,
When
he retires,
they're going to retire his number. They're going to give him a statue. They're going to give him a front office job, bruh. The Buccaneers were nobodies before Tom Brady, and this is an NBA podcast, so we won't go there. But let me just get this out.
Just like Cleveland was a nobody before LeBron James got there.
But why was that championship so special?
Which one?
The one he won in Cleveland.
Because he came back to do it.
And also why?
Because he left them hanging.
Because he got drafted there. That was his team.
He left them hanging, and he came back.
Whatever.
That's like the prodigal son story in the Bible.
Okay, that's all media hype. We're talking about he came.
Okay, since you're saying that.
What?
So then should the Bucks take down Kareem's stuff?
They should take it down, but they shouldn't. They owe Ray Allen nothing. And I say that because Ray Allen wore 34, and before we got into podcasting, there was an argument about, well, should the Bucks retire Ray Allen's number? I said, for what? He left us hanging. He didn't do anything. He's a great shooter, a great philanthropist. I'm a big Ray Allen fan, but he left us hanging. So why would they retire the number? How did he leave us hanging? He left the team. Whether he was traded or not, he still left. Giannis now wears 34, so the only 34 that's going to hang in those rafters are those of the Greek Freak. But let me just say this, and I'll be done with it. I agree with Jeannie Buss's list. I agree with it. I have no problems with who she said. However, I would have done it differently. I would have said the 5 most important player and the most important coach. I would have just said 6, because without Shaq, you don't win those championships, those first 3.
Thank you.
You do not win those first 3. But with no LeBron, the Lakers are still a lottery team that we're forced to watch on Christmas Day. Totally agree with Kobe. You can't take Kobe out for his legacy, his death, everything he's meant to that city. Kareem, who also left the Bucks hanging, his number is still in the Raptors too, but you can't take him out because he brought the Lakers glory with that era of super teams.
And he played 14 seasons there.
Okay, you can't take out Magic. He was a power forward point guard who changed the way we played point guard position in the NBA.
These are guys who retired Lakers.
It's okay. I am fine.
So what do you think LeBron is going to do?
He probably going to retire Laker, but he probably going to spend 10+ years there.
I disagree with you both. I think he's going to retire with the team that drafts his son on like a 10-day type of contract.
And then he'll be an all-time whatever OKC. He's an all-time Thunder.
I think you're taking it too far. But I think Jeannie Buss should have left.
LeBron James, that's what happens. When you're LeBron James, that's what happens.
I think Jeannie Buss should have taken out Phil Jackson and made it a players list and said all-time greatest coach was Phil Jackson. I think she put her foot in her mouth.
I think it was organization. This is about organization.
I get it, but I think she put her foot in her mouth because Shaq, he's very on that episode of Sensitivity.
He's gonna hear about this.
He's gonna have a fit. I can't wait to watch Inside the NBA this week. Kesey, do you agree with the list or disagree with Jeannie Buss?
I agree with the list. Thank you, Jenny. We appreciate you.
Should Shaq have been on that list?
He could have been on the list, but that's how she felt at the moment, and you can't knock for how she felt. That's how she felt. Anybody got a problem with how she felt, then call up Jeanie Buss.
Until LeBron James ain't on the list, then he got a problem.
Let me ask you this. If you had, other than Phil Jackson, if you had to replace Shaq with one of the 4 players, who are you replacing him with?
I just told you I want to replace him.
You're going to replace him with LeBron. Who are you replacing him with?
Nobody. Not on that list.
Eric hit in his face when he said that.
The look
That's why
of
we laughing.
disgust on Casey's face.
Because, I mean, the other 4 is not even negotiable. You know what I mean?
I feel
Phil
it.
Jackson.
We said take off Phil and only pick 4 players. Who would it be?
So you're talking about just players.
If you only had to pick 4.
You can't. It's not negotiable with Magic. It's not negotiable with Kobe. And it's not negotiable with Kareem.
Okay.
So
So
are
the
we
only
saying?
person that's somewhat negotiable with is LeBron, but you can't even take LeBron off because he's there right now.
So are we saying that Kobe was more valuable to the Lakers than Shaquille O'Neal?
Yes.
Who?
Kobe Bryant was more valuable to the Lakers than Shaquille O'Neal.
If anybody don't think that, is smoking good crack.
Isaiah, you
And I
smoking
want
good
some.
crack? Like the 50% of Americans you accuse of smoking crack?
I am not part of the 50% of America that's
Yes, he
smoking
is.
crack.
People,
Well,
I'll be dropping them off at 12 steps as soon as we get done with this podcast.
I'll tell you like this, people. I agree with Jeanie Buss's list. I hate that Shaq didn't make it. I'm a big Shaq fan. To me, he's the most dominant center to ever play the game.
How can you? Everybody want to talk about Kobe, and I hate them because he's just passed away. And believe me, but I know it's just one of the things where I just got to say this real quick. Everybody forget that Kobe was probably one of the first Ball brothers because his first couple years in the league were not good. They were not.
He
good
almost
at all.
won 6 man. I would disagree with that, but that's
But
another
he,
show.
but he had to come off the bench to play because he was playing behind Eddie Jones.
But see, that's the
And
difference. But
without Shaq, there is no first.
But the
Three.
Ball brothers didn't have to come in and play behind nobody. You talking about he came in and played behind Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones was a stud then.
Okay, what I mean by that
Eddie Jones was a stud.
And let's not remember
what
that
I mean by that is
Charlotte traded Kobe because they didn't believe the hype.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. That's my point. My point is that it was a lot of hype behind Kobe.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that. And it was a lot of hype behind Kobe.
It was Charlotte, right?
It was Charlotte.
drafted.
It was Charlotte. But it was one of the things where like Kobe, when his first couple years were horrible.
I wouldn't say horrible. I wouldn't say
Look him
horrible.
up because you love to pull up stats.
Well, Kobe, you're
Horrible.
forgetting that when he was on a bench, he was a finalist for 6th man of the year. That does not classify a player as
Horrible.
And not to
horrible.
mention he was only 18.
Horrible.
He was 18, fresh out of high school.
Horrible.
You're disrespectful.
Well, LeBron was
You're disrespectful.
I'm not being disrespectful. That's just the reality.
LeBron was almost MVP his first year.
He should him on the all-time Lakers list. Pull up the all-time Cavs list. He's number 1.
He's the only one. That's what you can think of when you talk about the Cavs.
Brad Daugherty, Mark Price.
Mark Price?
Mark
That's
Price.
sarcasm, man. Come on.
I'm just saying, you can't just throw sarcasm and not expect to
But-
get hit with sarcasm.
This has
Well, look
been
at the names you said. You don't remember those. If
Kyrie Irving.
If you wasn't born in the 80s, you don't even know them.
That's true.
Kyrie
That's true.
Irving, he's. Hey, we're gonna go there with that guy today.
That guy is all-time and everybody.
Big shot Irving.
But anyways, this has been another episode of 94 Feet Podcast. I'd like to thank my brothers Kesey, the birthday boy.
Happy
And
birthday, brother.
Also want to
Birthday, man, because I'm not a boy anymore. I'm a grown man. Shout out to my peoples at 94 Feet. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, he told you he wasn't the boy, Zeke.
So again, happy birthday to the birthday boy, Kesey.
Birthday, man. Shout out. Yeah.
Then also I like to thank my brother Dre in the building and for helping me with this podcast. This is a rough one, but we got through it.
You know what?
Without
y'all?
killing each other. So
we are recording this from our living room. So if it sounds a
not
little,
our living room,
my living room.
Dre living room.
If it sounds a little
No, I'm
spotty,
not here, brother.
it's because we're not in the studio today. But we did what we did with the best we
And he
could.
lives in the jungle, so you know that's what happens.
Listen to us on Spreakers, Google, Apple, Spotify, now iHeartRadio. Like us at 94 Feet Podcast. That's 94FT Podcast. Like us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Share, comment, like, subscribe. This has been the 94 Feet Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace, my good people.